Welcome everyone. Here's a yoga practice designed to work through the hips and the hamstrings. You won't need anything but your yoga mat for this practice. When I asked which videos you'd like to see filmed, this was one of the suggestions. So why not comment and let me know how it goes. All right, so we're going to start in a wide knee child's pose. So you're going to bring the knees maybe about as wide as your yoga mat. So taking the knees out nice and wide. The toes are going to come in towards each other. And then you're just going to start to bring the body down in between the knees. So go slowly, go easily. Find your way into an extended child's pose. So the arms are outstretched in front of you. And if the forehead doesn't touch down on the mat neatly here, you can use a cushion and pop the cushion against the forehead. Just make sure you're not using the cushion to squash your nose or restrict your breathing or anything like that. You want to make sure that it's just resting on the forehead. You're going to bring the forehead down onto the mat, and you can just let the arms be soft, let the body be soft, starting to feel how the hips are here. Taking a couple of deep breaths to come and find yourself on the mat, noticing how the body is, how the breath is starting to settle in. Taking another big breath here. And then when you're ready, you'll start to activate the hands. Press the fingertips down into the mat and feel the arms lift. There might be some space to lengthen the fingertips out away from you and find a lovely stretch through the back of the shoulders. And then from here, with the fingertips grounded down on the mat, you're going to use the hands to drag yourself forwards to find your way into something that feels like tabletop, but the knees are slightly wider. And from here, you'll bring the hands underneath the shoulder blades. Leave the knees where they are. Leave the knees nice and wide. You're going to bring the right hand underneath the face, and then, as if you were drawing up a bow and arrow, you'll sweep the left arm up and across, reaching the left fingertips up for the ceiling, or as high as your shoulder will go. If this feels restricted or tight in the shoulder, or load-bearing and the shoulder is too much, you can just bring the hand to the hip and open the body, peeling up across the front of the chest. So fingertips are lengthening away from you, or you're rotating left shoulder up and back. Take another breath here. Nice. On your next exhale, you're going to sweep the left fingertips back down to the floor, level out the shoulders, maybe have a little roll of the shoulders here, that might feel nice. Just letting the body start to soften off, and then you'll take the same thing the other side. So left hand will come underneath the face, and then as if you're pulling back the bow and arrow, you're going to sweep right fingertips up and across the chest, right arm reaches for the ceiling as you lengthen through the fingertips. You're trying to keep back nice and long, crown of the head is reaching out to the front of the room ahead of you. If this is too much in the shoulder, you've always got the hand on hip option, peeling the right shoulder back instead. Taking one last big breath here. Taking a big inhale as you reach up. Exhaling, you're going to bring the right hand down to the mat, lengthening the right hand down. And again, you've got that little roll of the shoulders if that feels nice. From here, we're going to work our way into our first downward facing dog. So bringing the knees a little bit closer to each other, you're going to tuck the toes underneath you, find the hands firmly planted on the mat. As you nudge the hips back to the heels, you'll find a point of resistance. You'll find a place where, when you push with the hands, the feet resist. And when you feel that little springy bounce, that's where you're going to pop up from your downward facing dog. So you're going to give the hands a nudge into the mat, feel that point of resistance, and then from here, you'll send the hips up and back, reaching the hips up to the ceiling, lengthening out through the whole of the back of the body. So you're reaching the hips up to the place where the wall meets the ceiling behind you. Keep a bend in the knees if the legs feel tight, and you could have a pedal out of the legs here. That might feel really nice. Maybe a shake of the head, letting everything be easy and soft. A couple of deep knee bends in the knees might feel nice. Letting you lift the hips a little bit higher. And then from here, you're going to look forwards between the hands. And as you exhale, you're going to walk the feet in up to the top of the mat. So as you walk the feet in, feel the whole sole of the foot as it makes contact with the mat underneath you. You're looking to roll out through the sole of the foot. And then you're in your forward fold. You're lengthening, crown of the head down towards the floor, maybe having a pedal out through the legs again here to keep the legs nice and soft. Whole upper body can just hang. If it feels good for you and it's not too stressful in the lower back, you could grab opposite elbows and just let the body hang out over the legs. Maybe a little swing from side to side could feel nice as well. And then from here, we're going to roll up to stand. Fingertips make their way back onto the mat. Knees are soft. Pull the belly in. Tuck the tailbone underneath you. And articulating through the whole spine. You'll stack one vertebrae at a time, all the way up to the top. Head and shoulders roll up last. Take a breath here. It always feels lovely when you get to the top. Take a breath here. Nice. I'm going to show you the next bit head on, and then I'll turn around. So you're going to stay facing the top of your yoga mat. You're going to pull the body weight into your left leg and take a balance here. You're going to bring the right knee up to the chest. So it's imagining somebody's tied a string around your kneecap and they're drawing the knee up into the air. So it's being pulled up rather than you having to sort of hike it up into the air. If your balance is a bit off, don't worry about that too much today. If you can, you're going to get hold of the kneecap. If this is really, really challenging, use a towel or the strap of a dressing gown is perfect to just hold the knee up in space. If you've got hold of the knee, draw it up into the chest, drop the tailbone down and away from you. Let these toes maybe have a little rotate right to left, rolling through the ankle could feel really nice. From here, you're going to bring the left hand onto your left hip, challenge your balance a little bit. You've still got the right hand supporting the knee, or if you're using a strap, put both ends in your right hand and let the left hand come onto the knee. And from there, you're just going to start to open this hip out to the side. So as you bring the knee out to the side of the room, you're starting to feel what's available in the hip joint as you take the knee out. Nice. From here, you're going to draw the knee back to centre when you feel ready. And then you're going to step the foot carefully back behind you. You're lengthening back into your warrior two. I'm going to flip back around and show you this way. You're lengthening the leg back into your warrior two. So it's a nice big step back as it comes through. And you ground the back heel down. You're turning the body out and opening the arms wide to find your warrior two on the right hand side. So you're broadening across the whole chest as you reach the arms out and forwards. So from here, you're going to take the front leg straight. Lengthen through front fingertips. Reach out for the front of the room, inhaling. Exhale, left hand is going to slash through the air as the right fingertips come high. You're looking for 6 and 12 on a clock, and the bottom hand has very little weight on it. If you do need some support with the bottom hand, get a big book, stand it up on its end and tuck it inside your foot there, and you can just hold it underneath. You're trying not to put any weight through the back of the kneecap, so no weight on this front leg. You're using your core to hold yourself up. You're breathing here, looking up at the top hand, rotating through the bottom hip as you peel the body open. Take an inhale, reach top fingertips for the ceiling, lengthen. Exhale, cartwheel the hands forwards and down to frame up the front foot. You're turning maybe the back toes to the back heel can pop up off the floor, be soft. And then from here, planting the hands on the floor, you're going to step the right leg back, the left leg back to join the right, have a pedal out here. Find your downward facing dog on this side. So nice and soft, take what you need from the downward facing dog, maybe pedaling out, maybe you'll be happy in stillness. So checking in with what you'd like to get out of your downward facing dog and working with that. And when you're ready, you're going to inhale, look forwards between the thumbs. Exhaling, you're going to start to walk the feet in. Again, looking to feel the whole sole of the foot as you move through this transition up to the top of the mat carefully. You're back in your forward fold. You've got the opportunity of maybe taking that pedal or hanging out over the legs, or maybe you're ready to just move straight on. If you'd like to stay here a bit longer, feel free to pause the video and just have a little hang out in your forward fold, feeling the hamstrings as they unwind. From here, we're going to make our way up to stand. You're going to bend the knees, tuck the tailbone, find that roll up all the way through the back as you stack the vertebrae like Lego bricks, one on top of the next, on top of the next, on top of the next, until you've rolled all the way up to stand. Same again. I'll turn, but you stay facing the front of the room at the top of your mat. You're going to pull the body weight into the right leg this time. Feel the left toes get light. And then imagining that marionette string, that puppet string, draws your left kneecap up into the air. Left toes are turned on towards the face. It's going to make the leg easier to hold up. If you can catch a hold of it, fantastic. Reach down and grab a hold of the knee, drawing it up into the chest. If your balance is off, don't worry. If you need to hold onto the wall, that's okay. It's not a balance challenge. It's an opportunity for you to try and open the hip and see how the hip crease is feeling. Maybe taking left toes, right and left, as you circle out through the left ankle. That might feel really nice. And then from here, when you're ready, you're going to bring your right hand onto your right hip. My left side is my interesting side. So you're pulling the belly in. If you're struggling with the balance, suck the belly in and up. Make the standing leg strong, and then take the left knee out to the left. So opening up the hip as far as it'll go. You don't want to turn the body. You're just taking the leg out to the side. The body stays head on to the front of the room where you are looking. When you're feeling ready, draw the knee back through centre. Don't worry if you've fallen out. You can always come back and catch us up at any point. And then with control, left toes go back. You step straight into your warrior two. So you're stepping straight back, leg long behind you, and you land your warrior two. Turn the body out as you turn the left toes out slightly. Check the front knee isn't overshooting the front ankle. You want it stacked up perfectly. And it's also not going to fall into the centre line. You're going to think about it moving back as if it was tracking directly over that second toe. From here, finding your way into warrior two. Big expansive inhale, lengthen the arms out to the sides of the room. Gazes over the front fingertips as you settle in. You're settling into your warrior two. Before we move on, we're going to find triangle pose, rotating through the hips. So, take an inhale here, straighten the front leg, and start to reach out for the front of the room. Lengthen first, feel the hips kick back in space, and sort of nudge back behind you, stick your bum out. You reach fingertips to the front of the room until you can't reach anymore, and then bottom hand slashes through the air, and the top arm just balances it. See if you can think about the bottom arm being really light, and the top arm reaching you up and out of your own side waist as you rotate the hips underneath you, finding that opening in the hips, maybe noticing a little bit of sort of twinging, stretching in the front of the left hip flexor. That's where I tend to notice it. You're lengthening with the top arm and you're reaching down with the bottom. Again, if you need that big book, that's okay. Grab a hold of that big book tucked inside the right foot. One last breath here. And then you're lengthening up with the top arm. Reach left fingertips up for the ceiling. And as you exhale, you're going to cartwheel left fingertips down and forwards, finding your way to frame up the front foot. Let the back toes lift up as they feel like they naturally should. And then when you're ready, you're stepping back to find your downward facing dog. You're back on familiar ground. You can pedal out. You can soften the body, whatever you feel like you need. And then from here, you're going to look forwards between the thumbs on an inhale. Exhaling, you'll walk the feet in. Walk the feet all the way up to the hands, feeling the feet soften underneath as you go. And then I'm going to turn, you're going to stay. You're going to stay here in your forward fold, hanging out over the legs. So you're in your forward fold, feet are hip width distance apart, and you're soft over the legs. Maybe taking a little bit of weight into the fingertips to support you. You're going to take the feet slightly wider, about your mat width distance apart. And then from here, turn the toes out to the corners of the room. And just using the fingertips to guide you gently, you're going to sink your way into your squat. So this squat pose looks very different for lots of different people. If you can get the soles of the feet on the floor, fantastic. That's where you're going to stay, as long as that's comfortable for you. If the soles of the feet won't go on the floor, the heels won't go down. That might just be your ankle anatomy. And if that's the case, that's okay as well. You're going to use the fingertips to support you and have the heels off the floor. If you're somewhere in between and you think the heels could go down on the floor but you're not feeling particularly confident, that's okay as well. We've got a solution for that. You're going to take the feet just a touch wider, and if you need to, just tuck a blanket or a cushion under each heel to give you some support, because it's going to take the stress and the strain out of the feet and the ankles. Whichever version of squat you're in, you're going to, if your heels are up, you're going to keep fingertips on the floor, but you can still use the elbows to nudge the knees out wide here. If you've got the heels down, hands come to heart center as you nudge the elbows wide. Taking a couple of breaths here. It could feel nice maybe to drop the chin to the chest and lengthen through the back of the neck. Feeling the hips starting to give potentially little judders of movement is the fascia just starting to sort of unstick and unwind. So from here, we're going to move into our a couple of more yin-shaped postures, yin-type postures to soften and relax the hips. So we'll start off with frog pose. You're going to draw the fingertips down onto the mat, and just softening off your squat, you're going to bring the left knee down onto the floor and the right knee down onto the floor. I would suggest, if you're on a long yoga mat, turning around so that your knees stay on the mat as you take them out wide here. So you're going to start with weight in the fingertips, just by turning the toes out to the sides of the room. And when the toes turn out to the sides of the room, what happens is the sole of the foot faces up towards the back, and you've got little frog legs. You're just going to creep the knees out wide. From this position, taking the knees out as far as they'll go, comfortably for you. If you've got a blanket and you're on a smooth floor, you could slide one knee away just to lend this a little bit more grace. And then from here, you're just letting the legs soften. You can stay on the hands, if that feels good. You could get a cushion and start to bring the body down onto the elbows maybe. If you've got a cushion, you could pop it underneath the forehead and just let the head hang. What you're looking for is trying to keep the hips stacked up roughly above the knees. You don't want the hips moving back in space or forwards in space. This is a posture that becomes very intense very quickly. So we're only going to take a couple more breaths here, feeling the stretch up the inseam of the thigh right up the way into the hip. Coming up on the fingertips to come out. Generally, the most graceful way to come out is to bring one knee to the other. So pick which knee you're going to move, and then you'll bring it to the other knee, which will keep still. I'm going to bring my right knee to my left, and that's the easiest way to probably get out of it. From here, we're going to make our way down onto our back. Any way you like, you're coming to lie down on the mat. So taking whatever you need, if you need to pop a pillow under the head, or a blanket down on the floor to feel a little bit more comfortable, that's fine. You're going to find your way down onto your mat, and just let the back be soft here. We're going to take 2 more postures on the floor that are really lovely for just getting into the insides of the hips and a little bit into the insides of the thighs and the knees here as well. So the first one we're going to take is a reclining pigeon pose. We're going to think about drawing the left foot just slightly more into the centre to support you. And then you're going to take the right ankle up and across the top of the left knee. So you've got this figure 4 shape. You're going to reach the right hand through the gap between the legs you've created, and the left hand will come down the outside. If you can, you're going to catch a hold of maybe the back of the left knee. If you've got loads of space here and this feels easy for you, you could catch a hold of the front of the left knee. Just make sure that you can keep the shoulders somewhere near the mat. You don't want to feel like the knee is pulling you up and away from the floor. Holding onto the back of the knee is slightly nicer for me. So then you're drawing the left knee down towards your face. Keep the right toes turned on, so they're pulling up towards the right knee. And you can use this right elbow to just guide the knee back in space. And you can stay here for as long as it feels comfortable, as long as you like. So if it feels good for you and you want to hang out here a bit longer, pause the video, stay here, give this a couple more breaths. To switch sides, you're going to slowly release the hands. Try and avoid that slingshot effect where the leg flies away from you when you release it, and gently guide the left foot back to the floor. Bring your right foot down to the floor, and maybe just gently give the legs a windscreen wiper here. So taking the knees left and right, letting them roll through. And then we'll take the same on the other side. Bring the right foot slightly into the centre to support you. The left foot comes up, left ankle comes up and over. Left toes pull back towards your left knee. And you're reaching through the gap you've made, and then on the outside of the leg to catch a hold of the back of the right knee. You draw the knee down and in, the left knee can be nudged away using the left elbow. But see if you can keep the back of the neck and the shoulders soft on the mat or headed towards the mat. Maybe tucking the chin slightly here as you look down the body to lengthen the back of the neck. Create as many double chins as you can. If I can do it on the internet, you can do it at home. Taking a breath here. If you'd like to hang out here longer, pause the video. Stay here, match the time you spent on your left and right sides for sure. And to release. You're going to avoid letting the foot fly away from you. Guide the right foot gently back to the floor, match it with the left. Nice. We're going to come into our final relaxation here. So I'd suggest it might be quite nice to take a hip opening final relaxation by bringing the soles of the feet together and just letting the knees flop out to the sides of the mat. If that feels tight in the hips, send the feet further away. Give your hips less to do. The closer the feet are to the body, the more work is happening in the hips to keep the knees out and open. So you're going to stay here for as long as you like. You can bring the hands to rest on the belly. You could maybe have one hand on the chest, one hand on the belly. Or you could take the arms up overhead and catch hold of opposite elbows if this feels nice for you, opening up in the chest. You're letting the body be really still. Taking as long as you like in quiet and stillness. Making the most of these moments that you've got for yourself. And if the hips become noisy, start to demand your attention. You can take a deep inhale, send it all the way down to the hips. And exhaling all the way out from that place. When you're ready to move out, you don't have to rush. You can stay here for as long as you like, pause the video. But when you are ready to come up from your final relaxation, just bring the hands to the outside edges of the thighs and give the knees a bit of help in coming back together. You might bring the knees up into the chest. And then rolling over onto your right side, you'll use the left hand to guide yourself up to find a comfortable seat. And I'd suggest just taking a moment there, and whatever that comfortable seat looks like for you, an opportunity to just be still for a moment longer. Give yourself the credit that you need for putting in the effort to come and practice today. You should feel proud. Thank you so much. It's been lovely practicing with you.